We are IIAP.
At the heart of conversations like this is the work of IIAP, the Insurance Institute for Asia and the Pacific. IIAP believes that insurance isn't just about policies, it is about people, their dreams, their futures, and their resilience. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the IIAP podcast, where we talk about the very serious stuff that helps you live life with less stress and more sense, of course. My name is Jacqueline Raj, and today we are tackling a question many of us have asked for sure, and is insurance only for the rich? Now, a lot of people still think insurance is only for those with big budgets or for older adults, but the truth is insurance is actually for everybody. In this episode, we will bust that myth, talk about how insurance can fit into a real Filipino budget, and even look at the real cost of living without it. Joining me today is a legend in the field, Mr. Ato Vergel De Dios, who has been shaping the insurance industry for over 50 years. He is the president of BDO Life and the vice chairman of IIAP. If anyone can prove that insurance is for everyone, it is him. Hello, Sir Ato. It's so nice to finally have you here.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. I've been looking forward to this.
And I'm so glad that we're actually doing this. Sir Ato, 50 years. That's half a century. Yes,
It's a long time.
I don't mean to
It's a
sound
long time.
overreactive, but that's a long time. What
Yeah.
made you stay in this industry?
It was the only job they would give me.
Oh,
You know, it's the only job I've ever had, really, life insurance. I've rose from the rank. I'm just happy to see how things have turned out. Unfortunately, the same things we were talking about in the 70s, we continue to talk about today. It just gives you an idea of how much education, consumer education there is for us to do.
Right.
For today's Filipino consumers about life insurance. It's a topic that doesn't seem to resonate well with a lot of people because we don't teach this in school.
that is true. Actually, you know what? Kung tutuusin po, these are specific topics that I wish they taught us when we were, in first grade, right? Like how
Yep.
to actually protect our future and
Yep.
have more peace of mind. That's interesting.
They teach financial literacy today. But what people seem to be very much interested in always, yung bang investment. They always think in terms of that. But that's not the fundamental. If you look at what they describe as the financial pyramid, the base of that pyramid is protection. It's not investment. That's the first thing that one should have in place, okay, as far as his financial pyramid is concerned. And protection is largely life insurance, health insurance, as the case may be.
That is true. I think a lot of people really want to do shortcuts, right? And I think that's what's going on here.
It's sophisticated
It
to
is.
be able to talk, oh, I'm investing in the stock market, etc., etc. But you know, the moment you start on that, you better live long because for that to grow means many, many, many years ahead. And the big issue that most people forget is, what if I don't have as many years? And that's where the whole thing falls short. Now, if God were to come down from earth and tell me, okay, Ato, you're such a good man, you've been behaving well, you're going to enjoy an assured life of 25 years, the first thing I'll do is I'll drop my life insurance coverage. I don't need it. You know, that doesn't happen. And so that's the reason why we say the fundamental base of your financial plan has to be an amount protection as the fundamental base. And that means enough life insurance.
I love that. It's really making sure that you have the right foundation. Now, totoo ba na insurance is only for the rich? You know, you hear a lot of people go, I don't have the budget for that just yet. It's expensive. What's your take on that?
Mr. Chair, yan ang uso ngayon, ano? Your Honor. That's the complete opposite. The rich don't need this. They have enough. Okay? For many of the rich people, they have enough. Hindi na maghihirap yung mga anak niyan mga apo niyan So they're the last people who need life insurance. If they need life insurance, it's for another purpose.
Okay.
Okay? It'll be for a different purpose that is not applicable to the rest of us mortals. It is, the life insurance is a product for the working man. You know, some years back, I was interviewing a CEO of a company that was leaving the country.
Okay.
This is a very successful company. They've operated in many parts of the world successfully. They operated in the US, they operated in Japan. Dito, they were not quite succeeding. That's why they were leaving. And so I asked him the question. I said, you know, you have been so successful in many places in the world. What is it that caused you to pull out from here? You know what he said? We have a very good business model that works well. But it works well only in a place where there is a large middle class. We don't want to monkey around with that model because we wouldn't know how to handle it any other way. And so rather than change the model, we don't think that market is present here. And so we will move out. Our middle class has since grown, okay? Thanks to OFWs, thanks to BPOs, if you will. So that has helped grow the life insurance business. But the business is not for the rich. It's for those people. We name three kinds of people: employees, professionals, hands-on business owners. The common thing about the three, they all have to come to work every single day. Because when they don't come to work every single day, there's no budget earned for what they have to spend for. So they're the people who need life insurance the most. It's not the rich people.
What a change in perspective for sure, right? I love that you're able to debunk that so beautifully and ground it so well. So what you're saying is when a person can afford Netflix, milk tea, Starbucks every other week, you're saying that that person should actually be able to insure himself or themselves.
Why? Why do I say that? What is the, I ask you, you're a young person, very young person. What is your biggest asset?
Right now, it's my youth and my energy. I mean,
it doesn't mean anything unless you can extract value out of that. In other words, it's your ability to work and earn.
To generate money.
Yeah? That's the biggest asset, di ba? So, anyone who earns and therefore may be supporting somebody, helping somebody, as the case may be, he's an asset. And that asset needs to be protected.
Wow, okay.
So very few people look at it from that standpoint because we in our company we use the concept of plan B is how we describe life insurance. It's your plan B for life. And who's plan A? Your plan A. As far as your family is concerned, you're their plan A. You don't need plan B, so don't tell me you don't need life insurance. They need plan B, not you.
Right.
You're going to be gone. And the only plan B that can be provided for them is really life insurance.
So now we're talking about the concept of life insurance.
Yes.
Based on your personal experience, what is life insurance for you?
Three things that life insurance does very well. And some people are not conscious about this, but the first thing it does well, if you owe money, you can get life insurance to help you pay the debt if anything happens to you. You don't want to leave the debt behind for your children to have to pay for. Most people have noticed that when you borrow money for mortgage, borrow money for business loans, most of the financial institutions require some life insurance cover. If you don't have one, they'll provide it for you. Okay, readily, easily. Okay, enough to just cover them. Why? They know how heartless it is to drive a widow and the family and the children away from the home, to foreclose the home. So as much as possible, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. So just buy life insurance. Anything happens to you, the debt is taken care of.
Wow.
The business loan is taken care of. During the COVID years, we had a case of pilot in a crash. He had taken out a small business loan, I think for his parent. That business loan didn't have to be paid because the life insurance covered that. So one is pay debt. The second is for final expenses. Somebody will have to pay for your final hospital bill. Somebody will have, even if you just have to be cremated, so it's cheap. Somebody will still have to pay for that. People are still going to be coming to your wake. Somebody will have to offer some refreshments. I mean, if the cost of living is expensive, cost of dying can be very expensive as well. All right? And so you have some small last-minute items that need to be cleaned out. You need a cleanup fund. All right? Who's going to provide that? Are you going to let your family provide that? Are you going to let your siblings Your parents provide that? Or are you going to do some crowdfunding? Insurance is a form of crowdfunding, but you do it ahead, All right? You have final expenses to cover. You need some kind of cleanup fund. Insurance can provide that for you. I was on a trip once and together with some of our bank managers, and there was one guy who raised his hand and said, how can life insurance help me? I'm single. I don't have a wife. I don't have children. Do you support your parents? He says, no, my parents can take care of themselves. I was looking for somebody who was financially dependent on him. So I said, do you have a favorite nephew, a favorite niece? He says, no, none in particular.
Wow.
I said, okay. All right, this is getting difficult. I said, so if you had to be taken into emergency, who would take you there? Oh, then in that case, that would be my brother. And who would take care of your expenses there if anything happened to you and you could not get out of the emergency room? All right? And you were no longer coming home. Who would take care of the bill? Oh, then that would be my brother. Do you want your brother to take that money out of his children's education fund to bail you out? Is that what you want? He says, of course not. Okay. Then in that case, I said, why don't you get some life insurance and name your brother as the beneficiary? And just tell him, anything happens to me, whatever money you advance for me is going to come from this insurance policy. Final expense, di ba?
Yes.
All right. Okay. I got away from that one. Okay.
What did he say, by the way?
He nodded and he said, yeah, I never thought about it that way. So I'm leaving. So the house is going to stay with them because my mortgage was secured by life insurance. So the family is going to stay in the house. Big question. Can they afford to live in the house? Can they afford the utilities? Can they afford the standards by which is required for them to live in that house? Where's that going to come from? Who's going to support them? Oh, I have, if I work for a larger company, then maybe I have some group insurance. Okay, fine. How long is that going to last? So the question is, how much time do you want to provide your family? Okay, until such time as they can adjust to the new conditions. How much time would you like to buy for them? Do you want to buy 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, 36 months? Because then, if you multiply that with what it costs to live, that family, to live, then they will have at least 24, 36 months worry-free for them to try to readjust to the new circumstances and then move on from there. Who's going to provide you that? Your neighbors? Your siblings? It's life insurance. So that's the third reason why you want to buy, so that you can leave a continuing income, even if temporary, just enough for them to adjust. Hindi yung after you are buried, problema na nila yon.
Yeah.
Oo. Do you want to be remembered as somebody who did not leave enough for them after you were buried? Or do you want your picture hung by the dining room so that he continued to provide for us?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Diba?
For
So
the latter.
that's the
Yes.
scenario.
Yes.
Okay? That's life insurance.
Amazing. You just grounded and really shared with us the true cost of actually not having an insurance. I love that you're able to do that for us. But I understand in your entire career, right, 50 years of being in the industry, whatnot, I'm sure you've had a love-hate relationship with insurance yourself. What was the journey like for you? Tell us about that.
Turned 21. I was already working in a life insurance company. I thought to myself, I said, after about a year of working, I said, I come from a family of 9. My parents spent a great deal of money to put me through school. And so I said, if anything happened to me any day now, I said, all that money is down the drain and nobody's going to benefit from that. So I said, the least I can do is figure out a way so that anything happened to me, I could at least return some, if not all, if not more, than the money that they had put in me so that they could use it on my other siblings.
Oh, okay.
All right? So you can imagine, at one point,
At
that point, we were 9. And at
Yes.
one point, all of us were in school. Oh, so if you saw my
That's
father,
ridiculous.
po ba yung father ko? That was what I had in mind. At least I returned to him whatever he had put in me so that I could become an income-producing entity in this world. So for the first couple of years, that was how my life insurance journey was like. I got married at 28. Okay, 28, 29. I forget about that.
What
All
year
right.
was this? Sorry for
Oh,
I need to have a
80
picture of
82.
1982.
All right. It was one of those things where you were not thinking straight, so you decided to get married.
28.
Okay. All right, so that changed the equation now.
Okay.
Now I
Yes.
have somebody who was relying on me. Too long after, children came into the picture. Now you would have to be sending some people to school. You have to have your own home. Have to take out a mortgage. So that's a whole new set of needs, so to
true.
speak, right?
That's true.
Now we're not talking of just myself and returning the investment of my parents. I left that there. Now I have to provide for the mortgage of the house. I have to make sure that there is enough money left. You know, I had to go. At that time, my job required me to travel extensively.
Oh, so you're always flying.
You're always flying.
traveling.
About a third of the time, I would be away. Okay, at that time, a few years later, we would fly in a private plane, a small plane that would take us various places. You didn't have flights every other day or every day in the same place. So we had to have our own plane at that point. So that's a little more dangerous, right?
Yes.
So, but that's a totally new thing. So I need provide income. I need to cover a mortgage. I need to make sure that there will be enough money later on for education of my children as my children were growing up. I needed to make certain that if for some reason this plane doesn't land correctly on our way back, I could see in my mind what was going to happen. I would replay this scene every time we took off. All right? I know that the house will be theirs. I know that there will be enough money to cover the needs. They wouldn't have to buy as much food because I'm not going to be joining them for dinner anymore. There would be enough money so that the children don't have to move to a lower kind of school to save on money. They don't go to the best school. They go to the second best school. Because we live in Alabang, they go to De La Salle in Alabang. It's the second best school.
Second best, okay.
Okay? We don't have to fire any maids. They don't have to fire the driver. That's all provided for. They don't have to avoid going to social events because they have to buy presents. That's all provided for. In short, what I made sure was I could see in my mind was that I have provided them enough to preserve the lifestyle that I had accustomed them to enjoy. And that's what life insurance was doing for me. So that was the whole concept during this period where my kids were growing. I was moving around. I was moving up in the hierarchy, in the corporate hierarchy. So I would buy additional insurance as I would get an increase from time to time. That would make sure that parang everything was well provided for. It doesn't mean that I never made investments. Okay, this is about it. No, this is separate. That's protection. I got into the investment phase. Of course, we could not afford a lot of things at that point. We had to give up certain things. We could not afford to travel as a family until much, much later. But whatever we failed to do, that went into saving money and providing for the beginnings of investment. Late 40s and early 50s. I eventually moved on. I moved to my second life company. I became CEO there. That was a good opportunity for us. But shortly after I had moved, the journey started. About 96. My third son was diagnosed as special. So that was difficult. That was an emotional roller coaster. Very difficult. But then I knew that, okay, that just upped the ante as far as the care of this particular child is concerned. The more reason that you need to provide extra for that. Okay, fine. As long as I'm alive, as long as I'm earning, maybe we can cover that. This took a toll on my wife. 3 years later, she had a massive heart attack. She survived, but it was expensive. It's a good thing. I had life insurance. My health insurance covered the spouse at that time. As a CEO, my health insurance covered the spouse. It was substantial. Even if it was not enough, it covered a significant part of this. Otherwise, this is the kind of catastrophic health event that people would like to avoid. It's a good thing she survived, but a little impaired, and she could not be as active as before. So that was okay. Insurance again came to my rescue. A few years after that, she was getting weaker, and my son was starting to get into his adolescent years. They tend to become a little wild like regular people. So I said, teka muna, I better take time out from my corporate life. I stepped down, I retired to look after them, to look after my wife and what. She would pass 3 years later. And so I said, maybe it was the right decision. It was the right call to step down. At least for the last 3 years, we spent more time together. So ngayon, when she passed, Remember, I'm the breadwinner. She was working at the time we got married. Eventually, when we had our first child, she quit and she stayed home. She became a full-time mother. But I had life insurance on her. There was some life insurance on her, and it was not as significant as what I had on mine. So that was paid out. What I didn't realize was when she passed, even if we had no obligations, her passing created an obligation. Because the properties that we owned in her name had to be moved out and transferred. We had to settle that part of the estate. And it's a good thing the insurance money came in handy. So it was the check here and then the BIR on that side, you know. Ganun lang dumaan yun. Dumaan lang yun. All right? And it helped. But it's a good thing we had that. So at least it lessened the cash outflow. So again, there you have it. There's life insurance for you. I'm now at the stage where I'm well past the regular man's earning years, okay? And I'm still around and I'm still here. Not everybody is going to be as lucky as me to realize the full potential I had when I was 20 when I started, okay? When I started at 20, I had the potential to earn. Now it's no longer potential. It has been realized all the way up to the end. Not everybody is as lucky as me. So when somebody comes up to me and tells me, so paano ngayon? Yung insurance mo hindi ka nag-claim. O di lugi. So sabi ko, paano ka malulugi nun? Sabi ko, yung dapat kong kitahin, kinita ko Yung insurance gaganon lang yan nung kinita ko So paano ako nalugi? The best form of insurance is the insurance policy you never have to claim against. It's like, you know, you buy fire insurance on your house. And then when it's time to renew, do you feel sad dahil hindi nasunog yung bahay mo?
Now that you say it like that.
Di ba? Do you feel bad na hindi nabangga yung sasakyan mo? It's exactly that. You bought it because you wanted peace of mind. I had peace of mind. And I enjoyed that peace of mind. And I realized the entire earnings potential I had before me. So, what am I going to be sorry for?
That's true.
Do I still have some left? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. At least kung ililibing ako, they can choose. Do they want to cremate me para magtipid sila? Or do they want to put me in a casket, which is a little more expensive? I cannot make that decision anymore. Somebody else will have to make that decision.
To do it for you. Right, but thank you so much for sharing such a beautiful story. Actually, how's your son now, though?
Oh, he's developing to be an artist.
Wow, I love that. And does he paint? What's he doing?
Yeah, he draws and he uses, what do you call this, colored pencils.
That is so amazing. And you being the breadwinner, it just really grounds how life insurance actually works. And I love that you're able to share that with us. Now, we want to help our listeners, obviously, because this is why we are doing this podcast. We want to help them get started, right? And I'm very sold as well, for sure. So what do you say to those people who go, I don't have the budget for it? Can you share with us small steps on how they can actually get started?
You'll never have a budget for it as long as you don't see the importance of providing your family a plan B. You'll never budget for anything that you feel is unimportant. See, the problem here that we have here is that perspective. Maybe we underestimate the value of ensuring that your family doesn't have to worry. Okay, you underestimate that, or I don't know. Maybe you don't care about it because they say that to buy life insurance, it's the most unselfish purchase you can make.
Tell me more about that. Why did you say like that? Let's expound it.
Because you're not going to benefit for it. You don't buy it for yourself.
That's
As a matter of fact, the more you want it for yourself, the more expensive it becomes. Because if you buy it in its pure protection form, it's not expensive. All right? It only becomes expensive because every time you buy it, you always ask, teka muna, pero what's in it for me? So I keep on saying, did we buy this for you or did we buy it for them? Because if we bought it for you, okay, then we will make it, it will become more expensive, but also for you, but so that you get something. But if you want to buy it for them, it doesn't have to be expensive.
Now, a lot of listeners are probably wondering right now, because you're mentioning different types of insurances, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think, for those who are listening to us or asking what's the best type of insurance for them, what would you recommend?
The first question you need to settle is, what do you want it to do for you? Because after you decide what you want to do for you, then you can talk about what types of what insurance will do that best for me. All right? Because if you just want pure protection, I can give. If you're young and you cannot afford anything, and you cannot afford very much, maybe the thing that you should at least have is accident insurance.
Okay, start there.
It doesn't cost you very much. 2 pesos per 1,000 is what? You want $1 million coverage, 2,000 a year. How many Starbucks is that? How many Starbucks?
That's like what, 10?
10?
Not even, yeah.
That's it.
More or less,
For 10
yeah.
Starbucks, anything happens to you while you're on the road, okay, you get $1 million.
And
At
we are
least,
all prone to accidents, by the way.
as
Just
a young person, and
You never know.
I'm the statistician of our class, I told them that until such time as we turn 40, all of our deaths are largely accident.
Yeah, you could really take care of yourself, work
Yeah.
out, go to Pilates,
Yeah.
but then you don't know
Yeah.
if you cross the street, you get
Yeah.
hit by a bus.
It was all unnatural. After we hit 40, 45, okay, then the natural
Iba na
causes
yun.
came in.
Iba na yun.
But, largely, if I'm young, I cannot afford it, get accident insurance at the very least. Okay? Because that gives you maximum protection for the smallest amount of money. Of course,
Right.
against accident. Remember, they were installing something there, and it was this heavy crane pulling up this girder, is what I call it? Anyway, kinakabit niya yun Nag-snap, nalaglag. And there was this guy on a motorbike that got caught under it, nabaksakan siya.
Oh my goodness. Just
Okay.
happened to be the wrong person at the wrong place and time.
That's exactly what I mean. Siguro, inutusan nyo ng asawa nyo, bumili ka nga ng pandesal dyan sa dyan. Dalian mo dahil mag-aalmusal tayo. Alright, hindi na siya nakabalik. All that person needed, if he had just paid 2,000 for a ₱1 million accident, he would have gotten $1 million. He would have left behind $1 million.
Wow. I love this. Thank you so much, Sir Ato,
Yeah.
for sharing all of your experiences. Do you have any parting words or anything you'd like to share before we wrap up?
When we started, I said, decide what is it that you want. What do you want it to do for you? I said, we started this conversation, 3 things. I said, do you want it to pay for debt? Do you want it to provide for final expense? Or do you want it to provide, to leave behind continuing income for your family? Okay? You decide
Just
which 3 are
yes,
important to you.
right.
Because any of those 3, life insurance will do.
I love that. Thank you so much. And it's definitely a matter of prioritizing as well. And as what you mentioned, it's really changing that mindset of saying, hey, we actually need this to prepare for the future.
We tell our customers, I'm here to help you, not to help you make a purchase that you're going to be comfortable with, but to help you make a purchase without which your family isn't going to be comfortable with.
Very nice.
Diba?
Very well put.
Okay? So that I think is the best way to put it.
Lovely. Sir Ato, thank you so much for being here and for sharing your experiences. 5 decades worth of wisdom with us, all packed into just 15 minutes. And I think the biggest myth we busted today is that insurance isn't luxury. It's actually a lifeline, and it's not about being rich, it's about being ready. Because the real question isn't, can I afford insurance? But it's actually, can I afford to live
Without.
without it? Wow. And once again, this episode is brought to you by the Insurance Institute for Asia and the Pacific, or IIAP, the leading institution dedicated to insurance education, professional growth, and helping Filipinos prepare for whatever life brings. Visit the IIAP website to learn more about how they're making protection accessible for everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.